you want to work through the problems together after the input video. So you've already watched the other video that I did. And if you want me to talk them through, then we'll watch this video and we'll go through them all together. You'll need to have a look at the problems first so you know what we're doing, but we will go through them together, except for the timetable one. That one we will leave for now. And if you want to have a go at that on your own once we've finished, please feel free to. So, problem number 1. If I got home at 17:30 and went to bed at 21:30, how long was I at home for before I went to bed? So what are the important pieces of information? So the really key bits are the times to start the problem and to finish the problem. So arriving home at 17:30, going to bed at 21:30. And then we want to know how long you're at home for before they went to bed. So let's put 17:30 on first. So we take our hour hand and we want it to be between the 17 and the 18 because it is 17:30. Spin it round so it's between the 17 and the 18. And then we're going to put our minute hand on. And we know that a minute, 30 minutes is half past the hour. We're going to move it round till it's at half past 26. I'm then going to put it onto my number line as well. So I take my minute hand and I'm going to put it between 17 and the 18. I'm going to put halfway between 17 and 18 because I know that half past is halfway through. And then I'm going to put my minute hand pointing at the 30. Okay. I'm then going to get my end time, so I'm going to put it at 21:30. So I want my end time at 21:30. 21 over here, and then 30 again is half past. Now this one's a nice one because it's starting and ending at the same minute point. So we don't have to count hours and minutes, we just have to count the minutes. So I'm putting it with my hour hand between the 21 and the 22 because it's between the 21 and the 22. And I'm putting my minute hand again at the 30. Next to there, pointing at the 30 as well. So they're both pointing at the 30. So I got home at 17:30 and I went to bed at 21:30. How long was I at home for before I went to bed? First, you're going to count in hours from 17:30. Well done. So we're going to start at 17:30. So I'm going to do 1 jump, 2 jumps, at 19:30. Now I'm at 20:30. Now I'm at 21:30. 1 hour, 18:30, 2 hour, 19:30, 3 hour, 20:30, 4 hours, 21:30. There are 4 hours between 17:30 and 21:30. I was at home for 4 hours before going to bed. Hopefully that's starting to make sense. Again, if you've done this one and you're now thinking, okay, I get it, I can do it on my own, please go off and have a go at the rest on your own. So the sun sets at 19:30 and rises again at 6:30. Now this one's a bit tricky. How many hours of darkness are there? How many hours of daylight are there? So the important bits of information, they've got the 19:30 setting, we've got the rising again at 6:30. How many hours of darkness and how many hours of daylight? So there are key bits of information. Okay, now why did I say it was a bit of a tricky one? Now the reason being is that it's going to go through the midnight hour. So 19:30 is the evening before, and it's going to pass through midnight, and it's going to end up at 6:30 the next day. So that's why it's a bit of a tricky one. So first, I'm just going to put my arrows at the right point. So between 19 and 20 for the hour hand, and at 30 for the minute hand. And then I'm going to do the same for my end time, which is 6:30 a.m. They're going to be between the 6 and the 7 for the hour, and at 30 for the minute. So if you want to do that on your number lines or your clocks, whatever it might be you're looking at to help you, then you can pause me and have a go at doing that as well. So I have my hour hand and minute hand on my analog clock faces, but also I've put them onto my number line here. So first we're going to count in hours from 19:30. Brilliant, well done, thank you. From 19:30. So I'm going to start at 19:30 and I'm going to count in my minutes. I'm going to 19:30, which is here. I'm going to go 1 hour to 20:30, 2 hour to 21:30, 3 hour to 22:30, 4 hour, 23:30, and then get a bit tricky stuck. So I'm at 23:30, and I need to do another hour, but because of where it ends half an hour after 12. So what I'm going to do, in order to, it's going to be quite tricky to do this bit. So it ends there, but this one here and this jump here are the same jump. Does that make sense? Because this is midnight and this is also midnight. So we have a jump taking us to midnight. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete the jump here because I don't want to have double jumps. So I'm bringing it from halfway along there. So knowing it starts at 11:30, okay? Just because when we come to counting our jumps, I don't want to have an extra jump there. Then to jump again to 1:30, then to 2:30, then to 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, and we're trying to get to 6:30. There we go, I've jumped all the way to 6:30. So I started at 19:30 and I jumped up till I got to almost at midnight, and then I stopped. And the reason I stopped was because I would have had 2 jumps otherwise, and I didn't want to have both jumps. So I just had this jump starting before the line. So I've jumped 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour, 7 hour, 8 hour, 9, 10, 11 hours. So there are 11 hours between 19:30 and 6:30. There are 11 hours of darkness. Now, the second question was how many hours of daylight are there? Now, those of you who are really on the money don't need to do any working out at this point, okay? Because you know how many hours of darkness there are, and you know how many hours there are in a day. So if you've worked it out already, just skip forward and see if you got the right answer. But let's do the working out otherwise. So we're going to count in hours from when the daylight starts, which is at 6:30 a.m. 6:30. So we're going to start at 6:30. I'm going to count all the way up to 19:30. So how many jumps did I do between 6:30 and 19:30? So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my jump starts over here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 hours between 6:30 and 19:30. There are 13 hours of daylight. Now we know that there was 13 hours of daylight and 11 hours of darkness. 11 add 13 makes 24. So if you had your smarts about you and you knew that 11 add 13 made 24, or the difference between 11 and 24 was 13, you wouldn't have had to do the extra bit of calculating. When you cross through the AM/PM threshold, be really careful to have 2 tiers to your jumps. So here it's definitely AM jumps, and here you can see their PM jumps, and that just really helps you differentiate when you're having to count on 2 layers like that. Okay, next problem. If you want to do this on your own, please pause me and go off and do it on your own. Don't feel the need to carry on watching me. These are the start and stop times on a video recorder. So we've got the start time, we've got the stop time, and we've got our key question. How long was the video recording? So it started at 14:45, it stopped at 17:25. Here we have our times for 14:45 and 17:25. Okay, so they're there on this thing, on this analog clock face and this one. We haven't put it onto the number line here, so where would you put the arrows? So pause the screen please and have a go at showing yourself where you would put the arrows on the number line there. So hopefully you now have your hour, you knew where your hours and your minute hands were going to go. So we have here the start time, 14:45, 14:45, and the minute hands, 17:25. So we're going to start off by counting in hours. So we're going to start at 14:45, and we're just going to count the hours till we get to 17:25. So we're going to count 1 hour, 2 hour, oh, I can't do 3 hours because it will take me past the end time. So I'm not going to do the 3rd hour, I'm going to just do 2 hours. So there are 2 hours between 14:45, 2 full hours, and 17:25. And then we're going to carry on. Done our hours. We're now, so I'm just going to put those hours back on so we can see them again. So there they were, 14 and 15. Okay, and now we're going to do our minutes between 45 and 25. Okay, so between here and here. Okay, not these two, not 25 and 45, between the green one and the grey one. Okay, that's really important. So I start at 45. So I've got 5 minutes. Okay, so there are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 minutes. So how many hours did we have again? Let's just go back and double check. We had 2 hours. How many minutes? 40 minutes. So we had 2 hours, 40 minutes. The race, not a race, the video recording took 2 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, so 2 hours and 40. Super, that's all of them. If you want to go and have a go at any on your own, do. I'm very sorry, my dog has been snoring loudly next to me for the last little while. I hope you haven't been snoring at home. Go off, enjoy some sunshine, enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you back here for tomorrow's maths. Take care. All right, stay safe, stay happy.